and welcome back. So, while in the last video we actually got somewhere, we learned to slice and dice in Julienne, today we need to do something a little bit different, and that is we need to make mistakes. We need to have bad things happen and to see what happens when bad things happen. What do I mean by that? Well, the couple things that you need to go over is as follows. The first one is, if your Premiere Elements starts acting funky, you might want to delete the previews folder. The video previews folder, if you delete them, you'll have to re-render them. And if you want to do that, all you do is delete the previews folder. Now, believe it or not, deleting the previews folder doesn't do you any harm, though it will launch some error messages, as we'll see in a moment. So there are certain things that we can delete without a problem. There's certain without a problem. But there are certain things that will cause a problem. For instance, remember this tree image right here? Well, what happens if I delete that picture? Instead of deleting the picture, let me rename it. Let me call it tall. Renaming a file is going to be as good as losing the file because obviously the program's not going to be able to see it anymore. So I want to do those two things. I want to have deleted something that I'm allowed to delete, and then I want to delete something that I'm not allowed to delete and see how Premiere Elements responds to it. And then once we've recovered from those errors, we'll continue with our editing. By the way, I want to point out again that if we go back to the autosave folder, if I desperately needed to use this file here to continue to work, I would not open it from this folder. If this is the point from which I would need to continue, I would copy this file, I would put it in this folder, I would rename it My Project Take 2, I would open it here, all sorts of new autosave and auto capture and all sorts of things would be generated in this folder, and that would make my life a lot easier. So I just want to remind you of that one. I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I want you to know where it is, and I want you to know best practices when doing it. So let's go through this together. Let me launch Premiere Elements again by double-clicking on the file, and now let's see if we can read the error messages together. And again, don't panic when you see an error message. It's time to breathe and think logically, because that's what's needed here. And now it's really very weird. It says, where is the file? img6221.jpg. I'm like, oh, wait a second. I need that. Now, interestingly enough, it's going to ask me a couple of items. The first thing is I could select a new version of it. I could say that's it. I could say skip, or I could say offline, or I could say skip all offline all, but don't do that. Offline is a very cool thing that video people do. Offline basically says, keep everything that you have there, it's coming back. Let's say for a moment that this image was a piece of computer graphics that I had a placeholder of, and someone was going to replace it later with something better. Well, I could use it offline, and then I could swap the good one in later. But in this case, I'm not going to skip. I'm not going to say offline. I'm going to say, no, it's this file now. And if I hit select, it's not going to say thank you. It's not going to say good job. It's not going to make a noise, and it's not going to even look like anything happened, but something did happen. Oh, interesting. It used to be that it would actually ask you where the previews were. Now, of course, it doesn't, which is great because we don't have to worry about the previews. But if you'll notice, my orange line is back, my green line is back to orange because I deleted the previews. If it asked me if I wanted to skip the previews, I could say skip previews. Don't worry about that. But you don't want to skip your content. Now, by the way, as I do want to get a good render of this, I'm going to press enter on my keyboard and I'm going to let it re-render the previews, which is going to take a good 30 seconds. I've actually seen this take a lot more than 30 seconds. It depends on how complex your edits have been. And
hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
Now, I alluded to what I want to show you next, but I'm going to show you more explicitly right now, and I'm probably going to get rid of that other little clip. And let me come over, zoom out, zoom, so everything's a little bit smaller. let's go back to our project assets. And as I recall, one of our videos has me pointing to nothing. I think it's this video. I did everything in the same video, which is fine. By the way, if you see me constantly going down to the bottom of the screen, this zoom tool is on the bottom of the screen in Premiere Pro. It's the one thing that I'm like, oh no, it's not in that program. So that's just me doing that. All right, so somewhere. All right, that's good. I'm going to slice there. I'm going to get rid of all of this. Remember, the only safe place to touch name a video file is by its name. Let's take a look at that.
So, as you can see right here, one of the most important things you need to know is about the giraffe.
All right, so I'm going to keep that. All right, now, what am I going to do with that clip? Well, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take my little room clip, and I'm going to take it over here for now. I'm going to slide this over here, and I'm going to make room for myself. And I make room, I'm going to slide this over here, and I'm going to put this in the middle, and I'm going to delete that part there, and delete that part there, and watch it all collapse back into play. There we go. And then it stutters there, and it says, and it's just me pointing to the corner. Now, interestingly enough, let's do two things here. The first is, if I wanted to, even because there's plenty of resolution in this video, I could zoom in and do a bit of a close-up here, which is nice because you can zoom in on video because there's so much data here. But the other thing here is I can actually take this video here and I can put it on top of this other video. Obviously, it's not very big yet, but so I want to do it right when I point to it. I'm going to come over here and let me actually make this video smaller. So I made it really big, but now I'm going to make it really small. So now what I want to do is I want to wait till I point to it. So there you go. So that's where I point to it. So I point to it and it appears, and I can pick it up and I can put it over my shoulder, and voila, I have picture in picture. Because I have layers, which you read from top down. So there's layers.
So, as you can see right,
and that's all I needed. And then I'll put the picture of the tree there next. And I will make it smaller. Even though it's not a giraffe. And now the computer's really going to hate me because I'm making it do a lot of work.
One of the most important things you need to know is about the giraffe.
All right, and then I can say that was too much space there. And that's where the timing comes into play, the fine-tuning of playing it and feeling how it feels.
The giraffe.
And that's about it. Cut that, delete that, press enter, and let it really go to work. Now it's got even more time to spend because I've got to shrink the video, overlay the video, make a merged video, all this type of good stuff. All for 35 seconds of this.
So, as you can see right here, one of the most important things you need to know is about the giraffe. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
Now I don't like that little bit of thing up there, so I'm actually going to come over here to this video and zoom in a bit. There you go, just cleaned it up. Do that with some stuff. You can just deal zoom. You don't even notice it. All right, now this idea about layers is extremely important when it comes to video editing. The idea about the layers is that you can overlay things onto another. You can overlay video, you can overlay stills, and you can even overlay text. Now wait. Be very, very careful when it comes to overlaying text. And why I say that you need to be very, very careful when it comes to overlaying text is that there's really two text tools inside of Adobe Premiere Elements. One of them is the I can make your text pretty tool. And that's over here with the Add T, which adds titles to your clips. And what you've got is all sorts of weird titles. And there are these motion titles. And then there's even the classic titles. And believe it or not, I don't like doing text this way. I think it's just hokey, and I don't think it's worth doing this way. I'm a purist. So what I'm going to do is remembering, number one, where is my playback head? Because wherever my playback head is, that's where it's going to try to add the text. I'm going to go to the top of the screen and say text, new text, default text. Now there's three types of text in this program. There's the text, there's roll, and there's crawl. Credits roll. And by the way, they roll up. In 7, they roll down. It's very disconcerting. The problem with the rolling credits is that you will roll them too quickly or roll them too slowly, and you will drive people crazy because you haven't built your rhythm yet. Crawls, by the way, are even worse. Crawls is where it's like you're talking, hey, you're talking over here, and it's like, no, look over here. It's like it's always the news. It's like you're watching something really important and go, it's snowing in Parma. So that kind of thing. So crawls are usually about cross purposes. Rolls are usually the wrong timing. We're just going to put in some good old-fashioned default text. Now, when you bring in the default text, let me close this for a moment. When you bring in actually, let me reopen it again. When you bring in the default text, you will actually be creating a new asset here. But you'll take a look and you'll see there is this double white line and then this thing called add text. And then you'll see it's down the timeline, which is title 01. Lots to dissect here. So this title 01 is a graphic utility that is built into Premiere Elements that will allow you to add text, shapes, and overlay them onto your program. Now, if you were, let's say, working in Photoshop and you wanted to make a file with a transparency layer. So let's say you decided you want to make a whole bunch of text on a transparent background and save it as a PNG and then bring it in as an image. You could do that. The idea behind it is you don't have to because you have the dynamic text right here that's editable. What about these double white lines? Well, remember I told you back in the day when TVs were made out of large glass tubes? Well, up to 10% of that tube was covered by the plastic edge of the box that held the tube. And because of this, because you didn't know quite how much of the tube was being cropped by the box itself that it was held into, we had what was known as the television safe viewing area. And the safe zone of television always meant that if you're going to put text on the screen or the bug, where it tells you it's NBC, little peacock logo, that you always need to put it so far into the screen because that other part of the screen may not actually exist. It's a safe margin for television. Now let's be practical. Our TVs are edge to edge these days. But that being said, they still show you what the safe margin is, and margins are never a bad thing. Do you need all of this margin? No. But do you need some margin? Absolutely. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in howdy. Now the problem with this is that the white text on a whatever background bleeds. The foreground bleeds. Oops, sorry. I don't want to come. Oops. So many difficulties here. Every time you type, you can make your new text box, and I don't want a new text box. Let's come over here and look at our tools. We have the text tool, we have the style tool, animation, and shapes. I'm going to go to the shapes, because if I go to the shapes and I click on the selection tool, I realize that I have multiple items on the screen. I have this box over here, and I think somewhere I got rid of that box. But this is the box in the shape. Under shapes, the arrow tool allows me to pick it up and move it wherever I want. The problem is it blends way too much in the background. So if I come back over to text and I change the color to black, well, that looks a little bit better, but it still blends into the background a bit. And the problem, of course, is that almost everything blends into everything else. which is why we tend to work in text styles. Not textiles, text styles. And what you'll find is that most of these styles have a drop shadow or an outer border, an outer layer, something that makes it that it will stand out on almost any background. Now, these can be just as bad, by the way. You still, just because they're auto presets does not mean they're good. But it gives you a sense of what we're trying to do here. This golden with the black outline and a drop shadow will look good wherever I would have put it on the screen. I mean, not good in terms of good, but good in terms of contrasty. It will be readable anywhere on the screen. So you have text, you have styles, and you have shapes, by the way. If you needed to put in a rectangle, that's the other thing I could have done, by the way. I could have come over here to the text. I could have said, howdy. It's completely invisible. Arrow, grab the arrow, put it over here. And then instead of trying to make the text work, I could come over here and grab a shape, draw myself a little box, make it black, and then I can do that. Now, it's on top of my text, so all I have to do is say arrange, send to back, and now I have the two layers. Go back to my selection tool. I have my two layers. I have the word howdy, and I have the black box, and that can work as well. Both of those are ways of arranging things so that you can see them. Now, one last thing I want to show you is that you have to be very careful, because if I grab the edge of this, I can stretch and squash this any way I want, which is completely terrible. Instead, if you want to constrain your proportions, hold down the Shift key, and of course that will make sure that it always keeps what you want it to look like. So I can come over here and do that, and do that. And again, you can build layers of graphics over here in the shapes, and you've got text and shapes. And notice I keep staying away from animations because I don't want you animating. All right, so there you go. Now this title, which by the way, if I want to, that's very funny, because how do you get rid of the title? How do you leave the title? Well, all you do is click somewhere else. And if you want to edit the title again, double click inside the title, and you're editing it again. Click outside of it, and this title, by the way, is defaults to 5 seconds long, but I can make it as long or as short as I want it to be, because it's just an editable default still.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
And there you go, and that's Title 1. I do believe it shows up in the project assets. Let me double check to see if that's true. Oh, I know why it didn't show up, because we go up one folder. There it is, because remember I'm in the subfolder here. Title 1 is actually now its own asset. So we've created an asset which is there. It's in the program, by the way, but just understand that if I wanted to use it again, I could bring it out again, and it would be right there. Now the dangerous part is if I'm over here and if I move it here, then if I come over here, I moved it there. And that's because it's the exact same asset. If I wanted to use it and be a little different with it, then I could come over here, right click, and I could duplicate it. And that's what I could do there. So let me come over here and delete that, and I don't need that over there. And there you go. So now we have understood this basic premise of things called layers. And so now we have video, we have images, and we have text in shapes and layers, which is great. The only other piece of media that we haven't incorporated yet is audio. And we'll do audio, and then we'll take another break. So audio is really in three main ways. The first audio we have is the audio of the clip itself. As you can see, every one of these clips, the video comes along with audio. The second type of audio is voice. Well, the second type of audio is going to be music. And the third type of audio is going to be voice. We'll do this in level of complexity. So let's say for a moment that we'll just go back to the this clip right here.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
So when it comes to audio, there's really two things you want to do. You want to make it louder, or you want to make it softer. Now, when it comes to making it softer, all you have to do is say, make it softer, please. And you can lower the volume of the video, but it's not about the volume. when it comes to audio, volume is what you hear. I'm not worried about what I hear. I'm worried about what I see. I'm worried about literally the waveform. I could literally edit the audio with the speakers turned off, because what I want to do is make sure that it's not too loud. Too soft is just silence. So what I want to do is I want to change the volume of my audio, but I don't want to use the volume control. I prefer to use something called the audio gain. Now, if you click over here under Fix, the first one you're going to see there is what says Open Various Adjustments to Your Clips. And if I click on this, you're going to see a list of adjustments. The last one is called Audio Gain. And if I click on Audio Gain and then hit Apply, it's going to offer me decibels and normalize. Let's talk about decibels. When I add decibels, my clips get louder. If I subtract decibels, my clips get softer. Let's come over here and type in a negative number, negative 20. Now watch the little waveform down here when I press enter. And you can see it gets nice and small. And what that means is I got quieter. I made a mistake a moment ago, so I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to come over here, and again, I'm going to type in negative 20, and you'll see it gets quieter. And now you see it gets quieter, but you'll hear it gets quieter.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
Now, I would want to hear the entire video to make sure that there's a balance. And usually I would want to wear headphones when I'm editing so I can make sure it sounds right. Now, you can always reduce audio. I can do it again. And of course, I can say instead of negative 20, I want negative 40. And eventually, of course, it just goes down to nothing. There's no such thing as too quiet, because if you get down to too quiet, it's just perfect silence. But there is such thing as too loud. If I were to come over here and try to add 10 decibels to this, then what's going to happen is that my audio is going to spike and it's going to distort because the waveform is going to get squared off, which is a dangerous thing.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you.
See how it distorts, and that's bad. So how loud can I make it? Well, the good news is there is a process, and the process is to analyze the waveform and magnify just the peaks so that is the loudest it can be without going over. And to take an audio clip and make it the loudest it can be without going over is called to normalize. And if I click normalize and I click apply again, you're going to see it's 0.7 and a whole bunch of decimal points. But 0.7 decibels is the loudest it could have gone. That's if I wanted to make it louder. Let's come over here to this one over here. I don't like that audio. This audio here in this clip, it's just annoying. I could reduce it, again, by clicking on this and going to audio gain, or I could right-click on this clip and I could unlink the audio in the video. If I click away, that means these two clips are now separate. Because they're separate, I could use this noise elsewhere, or I could just get rid of it. And now, there is no video, there is no audio with that clip. It's just me doing video in the background. And the whole tone of it changes.
Right here, one of the most important things you need to know.
And that's really exciting, is how, again, the tone changes. So you can make your audio louder by normalizing, no louder than its normalized value. You can make it softer by subtracting decibels. And how much do you subtract decibels? It's all about wearing headphones and getting the right balance. And now we can add some unifying soundtrack. Now, music is the perfect unifying soundtrack because you notice that there's things in here that just don't have a good thing. Let's come over here and grab Wholesome, and
So, as you can see right
now it's way too loud, right? It's way too loud. You can't hear my voice. Now, that almost always happens. By the way, see how this goes on forever? All I do is bring my cursor over here, cut, delete. Actually, I'm going to leave it there. You know why? Because I need to add a title. Remember, I need to add a title here. And if I come back over here and do text, new text, default text. Oh, look, it's nice in black and white. And what have we learned? We've learned a couple things. We've learned I can take this and I can pick it up. I've learned that if I hold the shift key down, it will shrink it down. And of course, it's white text on a black background, and that's fine for what our purposes are. and I can shrink that down like this. But now I still need to come over here and fix our audio gain to, let's say, and I'm going to go negative 20 decibels. I'm going to go negative 24. Why negative 24? It's not my first rodeo. Whatever you think you need less. A little music goes a long way. I'll let it render, and let's listen and look at the same time and see if this changes our story.
So, as you can see right here,
I was way too late. Let's come back over here. Oops, cancel. Grab this one. Negative 15. By the way, remember I said there are two things you remember all the time. Number one is where your playback head is. Number two is which clip is selected, because whatever clip is selected, that's the one you're adjusting. So you could literally have this clip selected that you're adjusting, but this is the clip that you're watching. It's confusing as all hell. Let's try it now.
So, as you can see right here, one of the most important things you need to know is about the giraffe. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
There you go. So I can make it louder. I can make it softer. Kind of neat. Now, there are other things that I could do, which we're going to get to special effects a little later on. How we modify these things is more of a special effect thing. But the idea is basically that's the basic premise. Now, the last bit, I just love how we have these little windows here. Look, there's the fix, there's the fix, there's the fix, there's the fix. Notice, by the way, if I'm on a video, I have image fixes, but if I'm on audio, I only have the audio fix. Something to remember, by the way, that there's just audio adjustments versus video and audio adjustments. We're not doing any video and audio adjustments just yet because we don't need to. All right, let's get rid of this. And now we want to take and do one last thing. And that's right here. We don't have any audio. I'd like to add some narration. Tools. Narration. There we go. Now, the narration one is wild. I'm going to move this over here so I can see it. The narration one, first of all, you have to remember which microphone you're using. I set the microphone I was using. Your computer has multiple microphones. Your webcam has a microphone. Your headset microphone's got a microphone. There may be multiple microphones in your computer. Make sure you've set it properly. Now, I'm using a digital microphone, which means my microphone sensitivity is dynamic. But your microphone sensitivity may not be dynamic. The idea being you don't want to yell into your microphone. You don't want to see it spike that way. So this microphone sensitivity, if you move it this way, it becomes hotter. If you move it this way, it becomes softer. The thing about it is that my microphone is digital, so it never really spikes. But you want to make sure that you're never in the red. So, see that? So, and here's where it's going to be fun, is the moment I hit record, it's going to record audio for this timeline. So hopefully I know what I'm going to be doing. It's going to be silly. And 3, 2. The tree! The tree! The tree! All right, so it made an audio file, by the way. Just so you know, you can't see it there. If I go up one folder, you can see it created that audio file. And let me hit done. And I should have been wearing headphones so that I would have been able to hear it. I have no idea how the echo is going to sound on the computer, but let's hear what it sounds like.
Video.
The tree! The tree! The tree!
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video.
That's perfect. I could not have planned that better. So the idea behind the narration is that you can watch the video and talk over it at the same time. To be honest with you, I rarely do that. What I end up doing is I end up recording. Well, in this program, I shouldn't say that. I actually do this. The Add Narration program isn't in all programs. And in those cases, I'll have an audio editing program open and I will record what I want to do, save it, number one. Then I'll record the next one, save it, number two, and just keep bringing them in. It's the same process. Just the idea that you have to be good at it. A couple of years ago, I had a student who literally couldn't edit video. They just had a bear of a time editing video, which is bad because 30% of their grade was video editing. And the last day class rolls in, and they throw me the DVD, and I pop the DVD in, and they're like, and today we're going to show you how to do a blah. And I noticed that for the next 3 minutes, they just ran and showed the video. And afterwards, I walked up to them, and I go, wait, there were no edits. There were no edits in the video at all. It was literally just one beginning and end. And I said to them, I go, how many takes was this? And they were like, one that I turned in. It's clever. And one of the things that we tell people is that when it comes to video and to audio, any of these types of things, when it comes to editing, you either have to learn to edit or perform. And that's it. The better you are performing, the fewer edits you're going to have to do. I'll be honest with you. While making this video, I made a mistake. A lot of times I make mistakes, I leave them in. I made one mistake that I'm cutting out. And the reality of it is that I don't make mistakes that are that critical that often because I've prepared for that. And so that's the question. Are you going to learn to edit or are you going to learn to perform? And when it comes to narration, I tend to do bite-sized increments. I know how much I can perform in one sitting. And that's what you need to be thinking about as well. So, if you wanted, by the way, a sound effect, kaboom, you put a kaboom in there. Bring in the file, drag it where you want it to be. It's pretty straightforward. You just keep assembling. So, we've got audio, we've got narration, we've got music, we've got the basic audio. We can delete audio. We can make audio quieter. We can make audio louder, but never louder than normalize. We can add titles and text with shapes and lines. We can layer images and video. We can resize, rotate, and all sorts of things with images and video. And we can put it all together. And right here, right now, we've got most of a project. And in our next video, we will do all of the tweaks that involve special effects. Anyway, thanks for watching.